Back in my coaching days, I've worked for a lot of different people. Uh, One guy said to me that my techniques don't develop any momentum. There's no momentum involved. And, as soon as he said that, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to explain or change his mind. Uh, Momentum is a result of mass times velocity. Okay, terminal velocity, whatever speed you're moving at. Okay, the bigger you are, the faster you're going. That's momentum. Inertia is resistance to change. Okay, I'm going fast. Okay, my Harley Davidson has small flywheels. Most Harley Davidsons have big, heavy flywheels. It's hard to accelerate those flywheels, those big, heavy flywheels, but once they accelerate, they tend to want to stay whatever speed they've achieved. Okay, mine is sort of like, uh, you know, throttle on, throttle off, throttle on, throttle off, because the flywheels are lighter. They're easier to accelerate, and accelerate means slow down, speed up, change direction. Okay, so a flywheel spinning like that, that's heavy, doesn't want to be changed at all. It wants to maintain momentum. Okay, acceleration, like we said, is change. Okay. Now I'm watching Dallas and Seattle last night, and I got this idea. I was mowing the lawn beforehand, and I said, we talk a lot about the blockers, but we don't talk enough about the defenders. Okay, the defenders. So I said, okay, I'm going to watch, and I didn't watch many. I maybe watched about 10 minutes of it, preseason game, whatever. And I said, I'm going to watch these defensive tackles. I'm not going to watch the blockers at all. I'm not going to watch the guys that have space to run. I'm going to watch the two big son of a guns that set the defense. And I want to see how much momentum they're developing. And lo and behold, the only time they managed to develop momentum was when they were on a dead run. Even pass rushing, they couldn't get much momentum going. Now these are big men. I coached a little bit on the field with the Saints right after they won the Super Bowl, and I've been on the field with a few different NFL type players. These guys are so big, it's hard to imagine. I went up to one of the guys. I said, "How much you weigh?" He said 350. He was immense, 6'6". I can't remember the kid's name. He was a guard for the Saints. These are giant men, but in close quarters, and we said this so many times, they don't have time to generate a lot of velocity. Okay, they rely on their mass, and then they use their hands. Okay, we think we teach the use of hands, torque, the use of the arms, the hooks, the various. We think we do that pretty well. Okay, but they don't have a chance, and most of the time, the initial contact on the blocker and the defender going head to head is a stalemate. That's just watch it yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, they don't. That game is not played with momentum. Even a defensive end, okay, when you go after a defensive end, he might have two steps, a jet end. He's way out there. He might have two steps that he can generate some momentum. Now, when you're trapping somebody, okay, I'm the right guard and I'm trapping left, I can get some momentum up, okay, and we admit that. When we tell trappers, we say, I want you to honk this guy. Don't you got to be under control because you're going to miss. But when I say under control, I want the fastest trap you can deliver. I don't want you pussyfooting. Okay, I want you moving your feet. In order for you to accelerate quickly, you got to start out with little steps. That's just the way we've accepted that. And when you go to make contact, you've got to regain your coil. You got to. You got to regain your coil. And I like to say to them, get both feet on the ground when you make contact. Because if you hit on 1 foot. It's like hitting somebody and you're riding a bicycle. Good, unless you hit him dead center, you're going to spin off of him. You're going to spill right off of him. That's just the way it is. And if you're flailing like this, you're going to splash off of him. You have no integrity. Get your coil, get your integrity, even on a trap, just the way it is. I used to tell guys to do that on screens. Get out there as fast as you can, 3 steps. Once you get into that 3-step area, square up, coil, get fundamental, and go get people. Okay. Now, when you're taking shots at people that are running away from you, or you're just taking shots, there's a place for that. You're taking shots. You're trying to be aggressive and make the defender make a move to avoid you. Okay. And don't take that out of your game. But this close in stuff, it's not about momentum. It's not about momentum. Now I watched a bunch of Tai Chi stuff the last couple of days, just trying to get it in my head. And yes, the idea of stunning, okay, it's not following through. It's boom, okay. And you're not. One guy and I watched it last night. He said, don't try to purposely regain the coil. Just boom and relax, boom, and you'll get the coil. Okay, get that 6 inches of depth into the target. He actually said 1 inch, break the surface 1 inch. Okay. Now, to me, blockers, you're not going to be able to just relax. You're not going to be able to just relax, but you're going to change from stunning somebody to wrestling him. Okay. And torque up, and torque sideways. Or if you stun him enough, run his ass over, push him over. Okay. If you get him jacked up, if you catch him jacked up, push him over. Okay. Just remember, this is why we are what we are, because we can do this. Okay, we'll hit the surface that's presented to us. Okay, guys standing up straight, don't try to do this to them. Do this to them. Okay, you want to hit that surface. Okay, you want to hit some point on his body. Don't do this. You're going to miss. You want to flip him up. Do that. You want to torque him. Get the elbow out, because that's the best way to torque. Okay, use what you see. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. Look at what you see. And what I would do, what I used to do, I would look at the defenders. A guy named Sean Jones, who played for the Raiders years ago, played for us at Northeastern University. He talked about that. He said their blockers looked at the style that defenders play. A two-gap defender that's going to attack the blocker, use these techniques against them. A gap defender, a guy who lines up in the gap and tries to jet the gap, use this technique on him. If you got a guy that's lined up in the gap, you got an angle on him. You got an angle on him. You're gonna give him angular momentum. You're gonna knock the dog out of him unless you miss. Okay. Now, if you got to get in front of him, that's a whole nother story. Okay. We've talked about these techniques for years. How to get in front of somebody who's not in front of you to get to regain the leverage that he is taken by alignment. Okay. If I'm running over here, I got him. He's already blocked. All I got to do is keep him blocked. I'm running over here. He's in my gap. A two-gap guy, you got to define. We know that. And we define by, well, different torques. That's what we do. Okay. But look at the defenders. See what's working against them. Okay. These guys, they get in front of those sleds, and that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to separate, get their headgear clean so that they can see the ball. And if you're trying to knock them off the ball, you might not even get to them. Okay. Some of these guys they're giant men. Okay. Look at how they play your guys. Okay. That's all I got for you today.